All right, so you were given the instructions to find two fractions equivalent to 4/12 and two fractions equivalent to 3/12, and then be able to explain to me how you know they're equivalent. And we don't use that butterfly method, knuckleheads. We're not going to. Doesn't work for me. All right, so Anna, give me a fraction equivalent to 4/12. 8/24. Can you explain to me why 4/12 is equal to 8/24? Okay, if I cut them in the picture, they'd equal the same amount. All right. All right. Anybody else know why they'd be the same? Jackson?
No. Oh, I thought we were doing it.
Because you raised your hand and I thought you wanted me to call on you, and then I called on you and you said no. Makes me sad. Maddie, you?
Because 4/12 is 2 times. If you times that by 2, it equals 8/24.
Oh. So you're saying if I multiply both of these by 2, then they would equal 8/24. This is interesting here. This is interesting. Let me ask Leilani. Here's a question for you. What is 7 times 1? 7. So according to that, you could do all the research you want. You could look on the interweb. You could read an encyclopedia. What's an encyclopedia? Don't worry about it. That's what we used when I was a Ute. If you multiply something by 1, the value doesn't change. Right?
Right.
Let's go with the smart Jackson. Can you tell me what kind of fraction equals 1, Jackson?
2 halves.
2 halves. Why does that equal 1?
Because there are 2. Because 1/2 is like a half.
Yes, 1/2 is a half.
And 2 halves equals 1.
Okay, so 2 halves equals 1. So what can you tell me about the fraction 2 halves? They have the same what?
Oh, they have the same numbers on each side.
Good. They have the same numerator and denominator. Any fraction. Aiden, listen to me, Aiden. Listen, Aiden. This is important. Any fraction that has the same numerator and denominator equals 1. Leilani told me if I multiply 7 times 1, I get 7. So according to the research in the encyclopedia, what's an encyclopedia? If I multiply something by 1, it doesn't change the value. And my friend Jackson just told me that 2/2 equals 1. So if I go 4 times 2 is 8, 12 times 2 is 24. That's the same. I multiplied it by 1. It's written differently, but it's the same value. Just like we did a minute ago where we did 4/8 is equivalent to 1/2. All right, give me another one that is equivalent to 4/12. Eli.
6 and 48.
6 what?
16 and
16/48. All right, and explain to me how those are equivalent.
If you times 4 with 4 is going to become 16, and if you times 4 times 12, it's going to be 48.
Good. So again, we're multiplying by a fraction that equals 1 because we don't want to change the number. But I want to go a different direction here, Whit. I'm sitting here, Whit, and I'm trying to think I want to picture in my brain, and it is really small, but I'm trying to picture in my brain, Whit, And with fractions, they always, for whatever reason, use pizzas, but I don't want to use a pizza. But I'm trying to picture in my brain, Whit, this equals 1, Whit. I'm trying to picture in my brain this divided into 48 equal pieces. That's hard to do, right? I can't imagine that in my brain. I mean, really, 24 equal pieces is hard for me to imagine in my brain. 12 is a little bit easier, but it's hard to imagine in my brain. So if I take my fraction 4/12, 4/12. Leilani, let me ask you a question. 7 divided by 1 is 7. So now if I divide by 1, it stays the same. So I know I can divide by a fraction that equals 1 here. And that would make my pieces bigger. So instead of 12 pieces, I can make it the pieces bigger, but not the value bigger. So Kara, help me out here.
If you do 4 divided by 2 and 12 divided by 2.
All right. So this time we're dividing. But as Leilani told me, as long as I'm dividing by a fraction that equals 1, I'm not changing the value. And Kara, what is 4 divided by 2?
2.
2. And 6 divided by 2?
6.
Or 12 divided by 2, 6. Good. Now I can imagine 2 6. I can imagine 2 6. Adam? Luke?
So if we were to do division,
Yeah.
how could we do, because 4/12 is also equal to 1/3.
It is.
But how do we do that with division?
Well, you're telling me 4/12 is equal to 1/3. So what would I have to divide 4 by to get 1? What divided by 4, or 4 divided by what equals 1? I'm saying here, 4 divided by what equals 1? What would go here? 4. So if I divide both of these by 4, 4 over 4, then I get 1/3. And the smaller the numbers are in my fraction, if I can make them smaller, I always want to do that because 1, that's what your teacher wants. And 2, fractions are cattywampus, but you want to be able to picture them in your mind. Now, if this knucklehead country would go to the metric system, life would be so much easier for y'all. So, Whit, when you become president, I want the metric system, okay? All right, so let's look at 3/12. 3/12. What's greater, 4/12 or 3/12?
3/12.
3/12? How do you know? 4/12? 3/12?
Because it's, you almost lost it.
I did almost lose it, but I didn't, so that's okay.
3/12 is greater because 3/12 is bigger than 4/12, and 4/12.
Okay, but you didn't tell me why. You wouldn't say
I just said it.
Whit is smarter because she's smarter.
Huh?
All right, 3/12 and 4/12. What's greater, Zoe? 3/12 or 4/12? 3/12. Why? It's bigger because it's smaller?
No.
Joe Michael.
4/12 is bigger.
4/12 is bigger. Why?
Because it's closer to the 12 than the 3.
Okay. So let's think of it as this way. Let's think of it this way. I give a test that has 12 questions on it. Eli gets 4 of the 12 correct. And Emily Kate gets 3 of the 12 correct. Who's going to get the better grade? Eli, because he got more correct. If your assignment was to run 12 laps and Eli ran 4 and Emily Kate ran 3, who ran the furthest?
Eli.
Eli. Okay? If the denominators are the same, then all you have to do is compare the numerators. But I digress. So now let's look at 3 12ths and see what we have equal to 3 12ths here. Let's go. Anthony.
Some water.
I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you. Violet, your hair is turning violet. Violet. Give me a fraction equivalent to 3 12ths. 9 what? 936. What did you multiply to get that?
Times 3.
Good. You multiplied by 3 over 3, and that equals 1. Give me another one. Eli A. Equivalent to 3 12ths.
312.
3 12ths. Give me one that's equivalent to 3 12ths.
624
624. What did you multiply to get that?
times 2.
Can we divide? Can we divide? Luke?
4.
Okay. And you divide 3 12ths. What did you divide by to get 1/4? And you get 1/4. All right, very good. Good job. Subscribe.